Good afternoon, everybody. We thought it was very important today to give you an update on as many different areas that I think we are all concerned with as we possibly can. My plan today is to let everybody give a bit of an update and then open it up for questions after everybody is finished speaking. With me today is Javier Fernandez, who is the CEO of OPPD. Also, Police Chief Todd Schmatter. Whitney Shipley is here, and she is the Director of Douglas County Emergency Management Agency, officially announced today. Kim Rowell is here, Vice President of Cox Communication. Matt Kalsovich, who is the Parks Director for the City of Omaha. Jim Tyler, he is an Assistant Public Works Director over Environmental Services for the City of Omaha. So all those folks are here today and will be giving you an update and then also answering your questions when you have them. So first of all, I would like to tell you that I did sign a local disaster proclamation last Friday. When Whitney Shipley is speaking today, she is going to tell you exactly what that means for the citizens and what that means for Omaha as we continue to recover from last Wednesday's storm. So I want to make sure people know that that has been done. The disaster proclamation was signed last Friday. Secondly, we've been talking a lot about a free city-wide curbside pickup of limbs and storm debris. We talked last week that we were going to ask everybody to have those items out on their curb, and we would start today by all of us, I think, and me included, and many Public Works, everybody else, driving through the city this weekend. It looks like a lot of people aren't ready for that quite yet. A lot of people, there are still some people without power. And so we want to start where if they're out on the curb now, that's fine. You're way ahead of it. But if we're going to give people till, we're not going to start till this Thursday as far as that goes. So we'll start Thursday, and Jim Tyler from Public Works is going to go into a little bit more detail because we are going to provide a map that you will have access to on the city's homepage and the Public Works page, that you could pretty much see which Public Works district you are in. There's 5 throughout the city, and where they are at, if they're in your neighborhood, if your neighborhood has been complete. Our plan right now, this will be for the entire City of Omaha, not preferential treatment to any district at all, the entire city. But until we are out there and really know the magnitude of how much debris that Public Works in the city is picking up when they do this city-wide collection, we don't really know how long it will take. So, your area may be done the end of this week. My area may be done in 3 weeks. We just really don't know. So we are asking people to get those items out on the curb, and then we will hopefully have more information on our, the map that we will talk about in a little bit, so you'll know pretty much where they are. Now, this collection, I have to say, could take weeks. We just don't know yet. It could take a month, is what we are probably predicting right now, onto Labor Day, to get the entire city done. So we still encourage people, if they have the resources and they can drop off their debris at our 5 debris drop-off sites all over the city, to do that and to continue doing that. But we understand many people cannot, and so we will provide this curbside service. The curbside service that the City of Omaha is providing will pick up the paper bags that you put out on your curb. They do not have to have the sticker for the City of Omaha to pick them up. But keep in mind, they will do that once, and I don't know exactly when they will be in your neighborhood. But we will pick up the debris out there. We will pick up paper bags without stickers. If you put your debris in any other kind of receptacle, like old garbage cans and things, we ask that you don't do that. We ask that you put just the debris out on the sidewalk. And you still can fill your 96-gallon carts that you have with debris too. So we want to make sure you know that. Now, when FCC comes by and does your regular trash collection on your regular day, they may be delayed because of all the articles and everything, the materials they're picking up. But they will also pick up the paper bags, but they require stickers. So the FCC pickup do still require stickers, and those will be picked up on your regular collection day. although they could be delayed a little bit. So, this is a process. This was a very, very terrible storm that we had. It affected all of Omaha, and it's going to take some time to completely recover from that. So I think that I just wanted to get that out in the beginning. Our team, when our city team is out there doing the citywide curbside collection, they will have skid loaders, they will have chainsaws, but like I said, they will be picking up a lot of debris. But right now, we really don't know the extent of it because it looks like there is a lot. People have asked me a lot about spoiled food. Spoiled food can go in your regular 96-gallon cart. Please don't put it curbside. Please don't put it in the paper bags. We ask that you put it in your carts. So with that, I think the man of the hour right now is Javier Fernandez with OPPD. He's going to give you an update on where we are with the powder outages. So, Javier.
Thank you, Mayor. Do you want this?
No, you don't.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all. First of all, let me start by acknowledging we are working really hard around the clock. We have over approximately 1,500 boots on the ground right now as we speak in this heat, working tirelessly to get your power back on. To give a little bit of context, OPPD serves approximately 407,000 meters in our 13-county territory. At the peak of the storm on Wednesday night, approximately 220,000 of those meters lost power. That's more than half of the meters we serve. I'm going to talk a little bit about the storm in a minute, but it's unprecedented. It's the worst storm we've experienced, at least in the history of OPPD. Out of the 220,000 outages, we've been able to restore 90% of those. As of an hour ago, we had approximately 22,000 outages still remaining. I am incredibly proud of the organization for the work that they've done. Our mutual aid partners. I'm going to talk a little bit about them in a minute. But we're not counting these as a success yet. We cannot go out and do a victory lap because there are still 22,000 families and businesses without power. And we understand how disruptive this is, how dangerous this is. It's really hot outside. It's going to get even warmer outside. Staying hydrated and taking care of yourselves and your families is incredibly important. We take that very seriously, and we will not rest until every single one has their power back on. We have about 22,000 outages, more or less, as of right now. We expect that half of those, between 12 and 13,000 of those, will be restored by the end of tomorrow, the end of the day tomorrow. With the remaining will be restored between then and the end of the day Friday. I want to also remind everyone, this is the 5th large storm we have experienced in our service territory just this year. It's catching us already tired. We had a tornado just a few weeks ago. And in between, we've had many severe storms with outages ranging from 20,000 to 30, 40,000. So this is no easy task for women and men. I want to acknowledge the work that our employees have been doing. They're tired too. And I fully understand our customers are tired and they want answers, they want timelines, and we will get your power back on. But I do want to acknowledge that. Between those 5 large storms this year, we have already restored power. We've made restorations to 312,000 meters. Remember, our service territory is 407,000. We've done an immense amount of restoration. This year has not been kind to the system nor to our customer owners. The damage caused by this storm is also very different than previous storms. The largest storm on record used to be July of 2021. If you remember being here in Omaha, that was a pretty devastating storm. Well, that storm pales in comparison to this one. Not only do we have more outages with this one, but the type of damages we got this time around is significantly different. For comparison, the first 4 days of restoration of this storm, we have replaced significantly more poles, cross arms, transformers than we did on the entire storm restoration 3 years ago. That was 7 days of restoration. We have already restored significantly more, replaced significantly more equipment. That means that more equipment was damaged this time around than we had 3 years ago. The pole snapped in half and cross arms broken. It takes a lot of time for us to first to access those poles and then to restore those poles. To that end, I want to announce also that in 2021, between OPPD's crews, all of our employees, we usually have 300 to 350 boots on the ground on a normal day. In 2021, we augmented that to 950 boots on the ground. As of this morning, we have almost 1,500 boots on the ground. 5 times more people than we typically have on a regular day here at OPPD. I do want to acknowledge the amazing help we've gotten, and I met with the governor a couple of days ago and was very proud to tell him Nebraska is showing up strong. We have crews as we speak helping us from Nebraska Public Power District, Loop Public Power, Nebraska Rural Electric Association, the Lincoln Electric System. They also got quite a bit of damage, and they are sending some of their crews now. Grand Island Utilities, Hastings Utilities, the cities of Beatrice, the cities of Fremont, and Southern Public Power District. Also, we have many private contractors: Ellie Myers, Watts, RS Electric, Collective Strategic Resources, Intren, JF Electric, and Michaels. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize also our investor and utility partners. Just across the river, Mid-American Energy, ComEd from Chicago, and Evergy down in Kansas City. Men and women who are out there doing that work, representing all of these companies, deserve an immense gratitude from all of us, especially from OPPD, and I want to publicly acknowledge that. The storm, the National Weather Service tells us that this storm was particularly rare in terms of the huge area affected and the strength of the wind gusts. It pretty much hit our entire service territory from Nebraska City to Blair, just a wall of wind of almost 100 miles an hour, and it was sustained. It's incredibly rare to see these type of storms. When we're used to wind gusts. This was no wind gust. These were sustained winds for a really long area for a really long period of time. We believe that this was among the top 5 strongest wind speeds ever recorded in Omaha. And it happened in a very heavily dense populated area. So that's the reason why we are where we are today. No resource is being spared. Our board of directors has been informed. I've spoken with the mayor. I've spoken with the governor. We are not sparing any resources. We need to bring power back on as soon as we possibly can. And you have my commitment that we will do that as soon as possible. We will have crews working overnight. Limited crews. We do send crews to rest. It's hard and it's dangerous to work in the dark, but we will still have people working overnight around the clock. Our crews are working 16-hour shifts, 5 consecutive days. They're tired. We need to give them some rest. They'll be working here until maybe 9 or 10 p.m. tonight, and they will be back at it first thing tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. If you see our crews, I'm going to ask you to please leave them alone. They're working really hard. They're trying to get your power back on. Distractions really just slow things down. They really appreciate when you thank them, and if you want to do that, that's what Nebraskans do. We support each other, and we thank all of our public service employees. So I want to ask you again for your patience. And I am sorry. I'm sorry that your power is out. 22,000 of you, 22,000 families and businesses are still waiting for that power. It's not fun to be without power. It's dangerous. I want to acknowledge that, and I want to tell you I'm sorry for that, and assure you that we have every single resource deployed so that you can get your power back on and you can go on with your life as fast as we possibly can. And with that, Mayor, I'll go back to you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Javier. And I want to reemphasize what he said. Those that are still without power, we know this doesn't make it easy for you at all. And they've done a tremendous job of restoring the outages that he's already explained about. But it also took a coordinated effort. And when the storm first hit, before OPPD could even get out, we had to have our Public Works Department out clearing the right-of-way so that the trucks could get through. So this has definitely been a real coordinated effort with all the parties that have been involved. And so it's been a long process, but again, it just hit Wednesday evening, so it didn't even happen a week ago, and the progress that has been made so far has really been amazing. But again, there are those who still don't have power, and it's very difficult. We understand that. I always say that public safety has a tremendous amount to do with our fire and police department, but public safety is keeping your roads clear, your street lights working, your traffic signals working, your parks in good condition. All of that has to do with public safety, and that's definitely our focus now. But Chief Schmatter is here today because the Omaha Police Department, he's going to explain some of the things they've been doing to help this process along. We've had traffic signals out, big intersections, major intersections have been out. There's been lines that have been lined up at a drop-off site. So the Omaha Police Department, of course, as they always do, has come forward and really helped with this process. So, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon to everyone in the room. Good afternoon to the Omaha area. The original night of the storm, the Omaha Police Department had over 200 911 calls holding that we couldn't get to right away. And that kept on throughout most of the night. So we called in the extra officers to help with the storm, help with all the calls that were backed up. We have continued to do so, even post-storm, assisting at critical major traffic points, assisting at the debris sites as traffic gets backed up. I do want to say that this has been a coordinated effort with the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. They have been an excellent partner with us as we've manned both of those sites. Our biggest increase in 911 calls has been wires down, hazards, and traffic control. So we will continue to address those, continue to address the traffic control points that are out as of right now. And for those neighborhoods within our community, those 22,000 that are without power, you should see law enforcement. Law enforcement is in the area to try to prevent any crimes that may occur with the homes being unattended. I want to stress before I leave that public safety is always our top priority, not only on the night that this occurred, but in the aftermath as well. And the Omaha Police Department has a flexible strategy in place to assist the night of, and we will continue to do so until everybody has restored power. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. And next, who has been working tirelessly also, is Matt Kalsovich in the Parks Department. They are managing the drop-off sites. As you know, originally we had 6. Towel Park has been shut down because they reached their capacity, but also their location has caused some tremendous traffic jams on Center Street because there's a lot of construction going on there. So I'm going to ask Matt Kalsovich to come forward and give us an update on the drop-off sites and things going on with the Parks Department where they're trying to clear what they're doing with the parks. We also have 256 parks that have a lot of trees down that right now most of their manpower is working on these drop-off sites. So I'm going to have Matt come up and give us an update.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As the Mayor mentioned, we have 5 sites that are still active. To remind everyone, that includes Greenbrier Park, Hefflinger Park, Levi Carter Park, the football field at 156th and F, just east of Zorinsky Park, and the facility at Alves. And those are all open now as we speak and are planning to be open here throughout the course of the week and into next. We, again, selected those locations. Some of those have been traditional when dealing with storm damage because of their capacity, the access that's available, and the safety. And that's our biggest concern with any operation like this is the safety of not only residents and citizens coming to use the site, but our staff as well. And things have functioned very well so far. I would like to remind people that at these locations, we do not take paper bags as a drop-off. That will slow our process. The Mayor mentioned the unique situation with the curbside pickup. There have been some issues and challenges in the past at our dump site, at our debris locations, and we want to make sure that's as efficient as possible, not only in terms of the drop-off, but our long-term approach to actually start grinding up some of the material. And anybody who's been to those sites or drop-off have seen them fill up quickly. And to, as the Mayor mentioned, Toll Park closing not only for the traffic, but it was filled to the point where we needed to cease operations. And I think that speaks again to the magnitude that everyone has mentioned in regards to this storm. There's Still quite a bit that's happening. We ask people to use caution, and we appreciate everyone's patience as we continue to cycle people who have that need. And also, as the mayor mentioned, we encourage people to continue to come use the sites, and that's a help in terms of our curbside pickup and the efficiency of that process. As we get to the point to transition out of some or all of the debris locations, our Parks and Rec team will redirect our focus out to the parks and other places that were damaged, public spaces that I know people are looking to re-engage with, and as we approach some nicer weather time and the fall season, we want to make sure we're prepared and those locations are in the safest, best condition possible. So absolutely invested and committed to our debris location operation, but you will see more of our crews pivoting out to those parks and public spaces here in the week to come to try and address those locations and issues of concern that we're getting reports about and that we are aware of as well. And I'll be here to answer any other questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Matt. And I think this is important enough for me to reemphasize it. I think maybe I've already said it twice. But if you take your debris, it's got to be green debris, tree limbs, leaves, things like that, to the drop-off site. They, in turn, are going to mulch that to make capacity for more, and then we could use the mulch. That's why they do not accept the paper bags. And we have to stay steady with no paper bags. If you bring paper bags, your debris, they got to empty each bag out to make sure what's in that bag, because there have been some, unfortunately, that'll put garbage in there too, and that's just going to slow the entire process down. So we don't want to slow it down for people. We want it to be as efficient as we can. So no paper bags. On the city collection, the citywide collection that we're doing, that people could put their limbs curbside. If you've already put things in paper bags, go ahead and leave them in there. We'll pick up the bags on that citywide collection. They don't have to have the stickers on it. But keep in mind, if you want it picked up with your regular trash day for FCC, that's your trash collector. FCC still requires the stickers because it requires them to bring more people out to collect all of that extra debris. So only time you need the stickers is if you want it picked up with your weekly trash pickup. You can still put your debris, if it fits, in your 96-gallon cart. But if you have extra, you can put it in those bags with the stickers on it. So just wanted to make that really, really clear. All right, next, Jim Tyler's going to come up. There's a lot Public Works has to talk about, and especially about this curbside pickup and about the map that we will provide that hopefully will let people know when we're in your neighborhood and when we finished your neighborhood. So, Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. And one thing I do want to mention, if you are putting tree debris in your carts, don't put the big stuff in there because that's going to hurt our FCCs. They can't compact that, so it's not good for our trucks. Put the smaller stuff in your carts, and we'll take care of that. We have about 150 dedicated staff on the ground from Public Works helping with storm debris cleanup. That includes crews and heavy equipment operators from other divisions within Public Works, and that does not include the number of staff that are assigned to help our Parks Department at the drop-off sites. As the Mayor has mentioned, Public Works will begin going through the neighborhoods on Thursday. Until this time, our crews will regroup and focus on clearing debris from public properties, continuing to assist OPPD with their efforts, and working with our Parks Department to keep our public spaces clear. And we need to do that to give residents enough time to get their materials out to the curb. We have 5 districts across the city, and this map, we're still working on getting exactly right, that this shows our 5 districts. Okay, we have 2 east, 2 west, and 1 kind of central there. Okay, we're going to be working in all 5 districts at the same time. Our goal is to make progress in all of those districts. Okay, some of those districts might have a little bit more material than others. If we find that out as we get into the neighborhoods, we may shift some crews around a little bit, but for the most case, the district crews will stay within their district. We can supplement and get some other help in the other districts if they have heavier amounts of debris. And this will be live on the mayor's website soon. City website. Thank you. The mayor's mentioned that FCC will pick up trash on the normal day of collection. and stickers if you want that picked up on your normal day of collection. Properly prepared sticker material will be picked up by FCC. Our staff will be working Monday through Saturday, 7 to 7, with volunteer staff working on Sundays. So you might see someone in your neighborhood every day. As of this morning, 22 traffic signals were still out. They've taken care of a few of those today. Please treat those as four-way stops. Also have to mention that just because a traffic light comes back on, because the power system's so sensitive at this time, it could go back out. So please be careful as you're approaching an intersection, and treat when it's dark, treat that as a four-way stop. We still have areas where power lines are down, and we're continuing to work on those with OPPD. I will be here to answer any questions you may have on how we're going to be working in your neighborhoods.
Thanks, Jim. Another thing I wanted to mention when we're talking about those drop-off sites, the 5 drop-off sites again, we didn't mention earlier that we will keep those drop-off sites, the 5 that are remaining, open until a week from Wednesday. That would be August 14th. Till August 14th, as we will plan to leave those 5 drop-off sites open. That gives everybody 14 days or 2 weeks from when the storm hit. Once we are at August 14th, we will reevaluate. And if there's a need to keep, say, a few open, we'll reevaluate at that time. But we want to give that to people to give them plenty of time, but to know that there is an end date to that. So trying to give you enough time to get those things out at the drop-off sites, and I think that's important to know too. And one other thing I was going to mention, I received a call this morning, but there's so much misinformation out there right now, so much. And they lived out by the West Roads, and they said that they are paying money to get trees removed from their yard, but they heard the City of Omaha is removing trees from people's yards for free on other parts of the city. That just absolutely is not true. You know, the City of Omaha does not go into private property. We are responsible for the right-of-way, and we're not doing this for free in some parts of the city and not in others. In fact, maybe they got it confused with the curbside collection, but as Jim showed you, we are equally divided into 5 public works districts with equal amount of employees, resources, and equipment, and they treat them all the same. No one receives special priority. So a lot of misinformation, unfortunately, is out there right now, too. Next, I'd like to bring up Wendy Shipley. And, of course, Wendy is with Douglas County Emergency Management, and she's going to talk about a few things, but also about the local disaster proclamation that I signed on Friday and what that means.
Thank you.
You bet.
As Mayor Stothert mentioned, we did file a disaster proclamation with the state on behalf of the city and the county on Friday. That's not unique to this incident. Disaster proclamation is the way that we give official notification to state and federal officials that we have suffered an incident with extreme impact with the potential to exhaust our resources, and that is the case here. We have some assistance we'll be seeking with regard to potential reimbursement for public services. We've also shared news with them about the human impact that we're receiving with calls to 211. Those are important because 211 is the means by which we become aware of what the citizens are impacted. So please do continue to call 211. Be patient. They, like many of us, are receiving a lot of calls right now, but that's how we're in touch with what your needs are. So this proclamation opens that channel of communication with us, with the state, so we can communicate that to them and then be available for whatever assistance they can provide.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Whitney. And again, everybody will be available for questions when we're finished. And last but not least, we have Kim Rowell here, who is Vice President of Cox Communication, and she's going to give you an update about their services. Kim?
Great. Thank you, Mayor Stothert. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, I just want to thank everyone in this room for all of the hard work that you and your teams are doing. We are there with you. We have been here in Omaha, Nebraska for 45 years. We've got over 600 employees, very similar to OPPD. Those employees, we are so thankful for. They are working hard, round the clock, 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day. And so some of our employees also, right, like don't have air to their houses, but their first priority is making sure we take care of our customers. So I just wanted first and foremost acknowledge that and completely understand how frustrating it is both not to have power and or if you have power, not to have internet. And we will get into that here in just a minute. And then two quick things before we move on. I want to let everyone know that we have opened up about 600 Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the Omaha-metro area that you can just access on your phone if you are within a certain distance. So if you don't have internet at your home, please use our Wi-Fi access hotspots. And then last but not least, and this is a tiny, tiny, tiny thank you for all that the teams and the first responders have been doing, but there's an Outlandia music festival that is this Friday, and we've been working with the organizers. And we're going to offer 300 free tickets, both so to all frontline employees, first responders, Javier's team. So if you have any questions about that, again, just please look on the website and look at the Outlandia music festival, excuse me. So very similar to Javier, we lost about 40% of our customer base on Thursday morning. We now have 94% of those customers restored. Our typical MO is we follow power. And so what that means, as Public Works comes in and clears everything, Javier and his team come in, get the power restored, and then we come in and start looking to see exactly what's going on, whether it's with our equipment or in the home. The other piece that I need to make sure that two things that everyone understands. We also have customers calling in that have additional damage to their home, again, where they may have power, but they don't have Cox services. And so those are the tickets that we have to work individually. And as of right now, we've got 1,200 of those. So I encourage you, if you do have power and you don't have Cox services, please dial 402-933-3000, and we will get you on the list and start assessing what's going on. Now, let me just explain that just a little bit more. So very similarly, we are also customers of OPPD. They are also a very great partner, and we are thrilled to have been working with them for the last 45 years. But our network and the way our network is designed also has powering that is, we call it upstream. And so you may have power to your house, but the equipment in our network that powers your house may not have power yet. And while we typically have generators and everything, just know too, the crews are out every night filling up the generator tanks and with diesel and propane and natural gas and all that fun stuff. So we just ask for your patience. We understand how frustrating it is. I empathize, right? Like, I'm sure all of us have lost power too. I know so I apologize like Javier, and please just give us a call and we'll see what we can do. And again, thank you for your patience with us.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Stothert.
Thank you, Karen. I know that OPPD is still encouraging people to let them know if there are outages. You know, we still are having some new outages as we still have some limbs that are falling and breaking some of the lines. So if you have an outage, OPPD does want to know. If you can't get through their phone line, they're encouraging you to use their app. The City of Omaha also, we have an app now, Mobile Omaha. We encourage you to sign up for. That is not interactive, but we use that to give out information. You could sign up for text messages, emails, or both on Mobile Omaha. Also on my webpage, the city's homepage, and my Facebook, we are constantly giving updates throughout the day of information that we want people to know. So we still want to hear from you. And then my hotline, it's 444-5555. Still getting a lot of calls in the hotline. I know over the weekend my staff answered over 300 emails that came in, and so there's still a lot of information that we want to get out to people, and we want to be able to answer your questions too. But I think you heard the same thing with everybody up here. We know it was bad. We know it was the worst storm that we've experienced in our lifetime, and we ask people to please be patient, and they're out there, as many people as possible is working all the time. Hopefully that when the 5 debris sites slow down a little bit, our parks department, if you have questions about our parks, they have not been able to get out to our parks that much. So then they have a big cleanup to do in our parks and our walking trails too. So those are kind of secondary to making sure the trucks can get through the neighborhood and get your power restored first. So with that, we are open for questions, and any questions, y'all come up here to answer it. So you got a mic.
I have a question for Mr. Tyler.
Okay.
I saw crews out picking up some of that curbside debris already today, and it seems like the map, the yellow is active. What are there people with the city picking up curbside debris right now?
Sure. So the decision was made to start Thursday about noon today. And so before that, that showed where we were going to start this morning. Okay, so we'll go back into those areas when we start the whole neighborhood, and so people still have till Thursday to get out. But we weren't sitting around. We were out there going with a normal plan that said, let's go in all 5 districts. But we saw that we needed to take a step back and give people a little bit more time.
When they were out today, it just looked like, I'm sure Jim agrees, that it was a little hit and miss.
Yeah.
Some people had theirs out, some people didn't. Some people were still, like I said, didn't have power. And it just didn't seem like they had enough time to get everything out. So, yeah, they did start picking up like we said, and then we decided, it's better to give people more time. We will cover those areas again, but we want to make it officially Thursday. And then, like I said, it will continue on until everything is picked up. But this could be, we even estimate it could be 4 weeks. That's the entire city we're doing, and it is free pickup. So we want to make sure we emphasize that. Yes?
Break this down as much as possible. So Thursday, you'll start pickup curbside. At what time do people have to have the stuff out?
Our crews are working 7 to 7. You should have it out Wednesday if you can, but they're going to be starting at 7 in the morning.
Okay, so in order to catch that, you make sure you get your stuff out to the curb
Have it out by Wednesday.
by Wednesday, certainly.
Absolutely by 7 in the morning, correct.
Okay, and what condition does the debris have to be in?
We're asking people not to really cut it up. We're going to have heavy equipment operators. We're going to have chainsaws. We're going to have big trucks in there, so we can take the big heavy material. Okay, so we're not putting size limitations on the size of the branches, the length of the branches. We're not saying cut it up. You're right. Take the big stuff out to the curb, and we'll handle it.
How close to the curb does it need to be?
We want you to get it as close to the street that you can. We understand some of these piles are big. We understand some of them are going to bleed over into the street a little bit. Okay, we understand some of them are going to block the sidewalk a little bit, but we're going to try to ask people to avoid that if they can, but get it close to the curb if you can. Get it in the street a little bit as long as you're not blocking a drive lane, where a car would normally be parked. Okay, but get it as close to the street as you can.
And if you haven't gotten to somewhere by Thursday, people should leave it there.
Yes,
They take them on.
yes. We don't know exactly how long this is going to take till we work for a few days, so we're going to try to give updates occasionally if we know more information, but for now, the information is get it out there for Thursday at 7 in the morning and leave it there till we come by and pick it up.
And what's the drop dead time and date to take your stuff to a debris site if you're going to kill the grass or you want to help out the city or police?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier, but we said a week from this coming Wednesday, so that would be August 14th. And so we will keep, what you're saying is we will keep those 5 sites open till August 14th. That would give people 2 weeks from the date of the storm, and then we'll reevaluate. So, if there's still a lot of traffic at some of those, we might reevaluate and keep 1 or 2 open. But I think that at least gives people a time frame to know that they've got, right now, as of today, they got about another week and a half to try to get that out to the sites that we have. I will say that, some of them were getting pretty full, like Towel was getting really full. So is Heflinger. Heflinger opened up a secondary site in their parking lot. But I will tell you, Levi Carter and then Alvez, which is about 60th and Harrison, which was a 6th site that we opened up a few days after we opened the original. They have plenty of capacity. So if you got the ability to drive a little further, Levi Carter in North Omaha and Alvez, which is around South Omaha, still has a lot of capacity in those areas.
At what time, August 14th?
It would be at the end of the day. 7 to 7.
7 a.m. to
7 a.m. to 7
7
p.m.
p.m. on the 14th.
Yeah. Are you going out there on the 14th at 6:35?
Mayor, I usually pick
Just asking.
Unfortunately, a lot of people have food waste.
Yes.
For those who have so much food waste
I
that it
know.
doesn't fit in the trash can, is there any guidance for people?
You know, all I can really say is that FCC is your trash garbage collection company. They will pick up anything you put in the 96-gallon cart. Besides that, besides where, to put it in the cart, as of this point, I don't have a lot of other suggestions right now from the city. But please, what I will ask you is do not put them in the paper bags and put leaves or whatever on top of it. That will just make a mess of things, and it will slow it down for everybody else. That's so very unfortunate. I know I did that it was about 2 months ago. Our power went out and it kicked back in, but for some reason my refrigerator freezer that I had in the basement didn't. And I threw away, I had my whole freezer full of Omaha steaks and stuff from Omaha Steaks, and I had to throw every bit of it out. And so I really know how it is. It's so frustrating. People have asked me, is the city going to reimburse them for their food? And that would be something that the individual homeowner would have to work with their insurance company on, because the city does not reimburse individual homeowners for loss of food with a power outage. It's something we just can't do.
Question for costs.
Yes.
For the days where people are without service, will they be prorated for their bill? And if so, how can they?
Yeah, so again, call us and we will absolutely put the credit on your bill, prorated, whatever, but we'll credit you. Absolutely. Yep.
Another question for Kim. Could you explain where the Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the metro, is there a place customers need to go to? Could you clarify?
I can actually, the mayor mentioned, I'm happy to send the Wi-Fi hotspot map to the mayor or Carrie, and we could put it up on the website that we were going to use. Happy to do that.
So is that something already online through Cox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of that people pull up their Wi-Fi?
I think it's Cox Wi-Fi.
Should be Cox,
Yeah.
okay.
I doubt that we can complete.
Got
Did
it.
you find it? Okay. I was like, in complete candor, I'm not sure if you're going to get it right here in the building, but okay.
So were you saying that there were 94% of customers with Cox Internet have their Cox Internet back, or was it 94% of the 40% who went out?
It's 94% of the 40% who went out.
Do you know how many of your customers are still currently?
I do,
have
and
internet?
typically because we're privately held, we don't release discrete numbers.
Uh-huh.
But it's a very small number. It's like in the 4 digits.
I don't know if anybody else can speak to this since the chief left, but can anybody touch on like the scope of the possible looting? Have there been
Yeah.
instances?
Yeah, we did. I got some notification in certain neighborhoods because the neighbors were talking about it on that Nextdoor app. That there were a couple neighborhoods that I was notified on. That there were actually this one I was notified on. There were 3 men with ski masks that actually had crowbars and baseball bats that were coming out after midnight in areas that their power was completely out. And so when I was notified about that, I did notify the chief, and they provided extra police protection in some of those areas, and they still are for those areas that the power is still out. They're doing extra patrolling in those areas just to make sure everybody is safe. Now, we have not had any actual reports of anybody being broken into, but the potential is there, and we want to make sure everybody feels safe until their power gets back on.
Did you say what area that is?
It was an area it was a smaller area. It was around 108th in Maple, and that's what was reported to me, and I just immediately reported it to the chief.
Do you know any number of accidents that were a result of some of those lights being out at intersections, if there have been?
You know, the number of accidents at those intersections, I don't, and the chief is not here right now. He had something else to do. We could certainly find that out, but I know I experienced it myself. People, especially the busy ones. I was at 120th and L, and that was out for a while. And that's one of the busiest intersections in Omaha. And The people generally were not treated as a four-way stop because there would be just tons going through when one car started to go through. But I know the traffic on L Street going eastbound was backed up for miles. So that was on Thursday. And so on Friday, I asked him to make sure that I got from Public Works, I got the list of intersections that were out. We identified the busiest intersections, and we sent police out there to control the traffic in those intersections all day.
If I may, really quick.
Sure.
We have some information on street lights, not street lights, traffic lights.
Traffic lights.
We have, as of about an hour ago, we have about 22 street lights still out. They have been prioritized. Those are the few things that we do prioritize is critical infrastructure. And so we're already working on those. And so we fully expect to have those back on, hopefully by the end of the day. So good information to have, which intersections, but also important to know that they've all been assigned and we have crews already working on those.
Can you also talk about, I don't think you mentioned, but you mentioned it to me, about how you prioritize? It's like hospitals the first, and then the areas that will provide the biggest amount of customers to restore their power. So can you tell them a little bit about that?
So this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions the mayor receives, I receive, our board members receive is, hey, how are you prioritizing? It seems like you're restoring power to certain areas before other areas. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely not the case. There are only two general ways in which we prioritize restoration. Number one, critical infrastructure. Think about the airport, Alford Air Force Base, hospitals, water treatment facilities, sewer facilities, traffic lights, and 911 centers. We do prioritize those for obvious reasons, make sure that we have all those essential services up and running. And the only other way that we prioritize restoration is by number. We're going out first to those circuits where we know we have the most number of customers out. It usually takes the same amount of time and effort to restore power, and if we can get 10,000 meters back online, we're going to go after those first, and then triage all the way back down to the individual one or two customers who might be out for the same incident. So those are the only two ways that we do prioritize. When you look at our map, it is very obvious when you see where the outages happen. The outages happen in the older neighborhoods of the city, where we have very large trees, where our distribution lines are overhead distribution lines that were installed 60 years ago. That's where you see a lot more of the outages. It's natural based on the system design. Another question I get asked is, are you going to underground those poles? We are looking at that. We continue to look at this. This is something that we do all the time. Where does it make sense for us to go in and underground distribution lines? It's not as easy as it may look. Sometimes we would have to go back into people's backyards, tear down trees, uproot trees to make way for undergrounding utilities. But we are doing that. We are really exploring how do we continue to strengthen the system by undergrounding lines, acknowledging that is probably not very feasible for us to think that we will be able to underground the entire distribution system that we have from the river all the way up to 96th Street, which is where most of our above ground system is. So I answer more than what you asked me to.
No, that's fine.
Pretty sure it was in
and I think it would cost a tremendous amount of dollars to take all those above ground lines and to bury them.
It would, and thank you for bringing that up, because it's important for us. We have to manage, we have to balance reliability with affordability and sustainability. In cases like these, in times like these, really, it's about people's lives, right? And so you really can't put a price on that. But it's important for us to make sure that it's not just about money, it's about how feasible would it be for us to underground lines. And it's a balancing act, and it's something that we continue to look at all the time for our customers.
Thank you.
Mr.
And you know what?
Mr. Fernandez,
Let-
can you talk about, did the storm push that conversation further?
No. No, so the storm, we've had that conversation for years. I'm mentioning these now because it's on people's minds, but it's something that we, power quality, reliability, resilience, our measures, we have metrics that we measure constantly. This is not a new topic. The storm didn't make us think about undergrounding lines.
Even though it was a historic storm.
It was a historic storm, but we've been thinking about underground lines, and we do underground lines from time to time.
Here, Javier and I are going to answer this together. I got to bring up a question I keep on getting, and a lot of people have said, "Well, the city owns Omaha Public Power." No,
False.
I know. I mean, absolutely false. We do not. It's a public power company. They have their own elected board. They said, "Well, the city budgets and subsidizes OPPD," and
False.
that's false. It's paid for, their ratepayers pay for it. Another thing that I have heard numerous times is that OPPD and the City of Omaha was offered money to bury all of their power lines, but we refused it. And that is
False.
That's another false one. The misinformation out there is great right now. But no, that is not true at all. The city doesn't receive money, and neither did OPPD to bury those lines. And so that's just a rumor that's out there too. So they are their own private public power company. They have their own elected board. They have their own CEO. And I'm not that person. So, yes, I know.
We'll work together.
Yes, we do work together, and we appreciate that.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
You have, you mentioned that you've had to replace significantly more poles than during the 2021 storm. Poles is the part of that I remember right now, but do you have numbers on, like, equipment, number of poles you've had to replace, et cetera?
I do, but I'm going to have to cheat here. So give me 1 second.
If it's cheating to look at your notes, that's all I.
It's many things. I'm going to give you just an example of equipment because there's a lot more here. To give an example, in 2021, the 7 days of that storm, we replaced 120 distribution poles. In the first 4 days of this storm, as of last night, we had already replaced 158 poles, and we're not done yet. 2021, we replaced 118 cross arms, the cross arms on the poles. As of yesterday, we had 618 cross arms replaced. Same thing with fuses, a little bit over 1,063 fuses in 2021, 1,245 fuses as of last night. 67 transformers in 2021, 70 transformers as of last night. So it is important to share that because most of the times we're used to reporting on storm restoration based on number of outages, and that's important, right? That's what our customers experience. But it's important for us to dig a little bit deeper on the details in that this storm was significantly different than last one. It caused significantly more damage. Trees, the limbs, everything caused more damage, and it takes longer to replace all of those parts of equipment.
So initially, you anticipated 7 to 8 days out from the storm until everybody got power back. Now it looks like 9 days.
No, we're still looking at 7 to 8 days. We're still looking at potentially Friday. The numbers have shifted, so we were expecting to have very few people left on Thursday and Friday. That number has increased. But in order for us not to move further into the weekend, we brought in a lot more people. There were new crews arriving this morning from Kansas, from Lincoln, from other places, so that we can still look at the end of the week to have most, if not all, the power restored.
And why are there still more now than
Again, we use a formula to anticipate the restoration process, progress we make. And that is based on what a typical storm would look like. And I hate to even say typical storm. They are becoming more typical. This storm is different. Just the numbers that I shared with you on equipment we're replacing is telling us this storm was significantly different. So we've had to adjust our formula, our forecasts, so that we more accurately know each outage, each incident is taking us longer time for us to restore, and we're bringing more help to help us restore. We're still aiming for the end of the week, but again, it's going to be a few thousand people who we thought were going to come back online tomorrow. Yesterday, for example, they may come back online today or tomorrow. We're moving things a little bit out into the week with the same goal of finishing up by the end of the week.
Mr. Kyler, how many people in each district will be doing the curbside pickup approximately?
I'm going to say roughly, these are approximate because each crew is a little bit different. And so 150 total. So, 30. Okay, but so that's maybe 5 or 6 crews of, you got a guy with a chainsaw, you got a couple people just kind of general labor, and you got people driving trucks. And I'd have to talk to our division to see if that number includes the number of truck drivers. But there's a significant amount of people just driving trucks to just haul the material away, besides the people just lifting the material in, driving the heavy equipment to get it loaded in.
One of the things, Jim, I got to check my numbers here. If my memory is correct, I believe on every week we pick up trash, FCC does, from approximately 150,000 homes.
Yeah, so we talked about that today. And so when we're talking about, we have a residential trash collection of about 145,000, 150,000 homes. So when you think about that, that's what we're going to be collecting curbside debris from this storm from 150,000 residential properties. That's why we know it's going to take a long time. That's why we're going to have to get in and look at each neighborhood individually to see how long it's going to take.
To that end, Mayor, would you encourage people to take their debris to the drop sites again?
We absolutely are encouraging people, if they have the resources and they can do it. It will help us a lot if they could take it to one of the drop sites. And we're giving them till August 14th to do that. So that will help this whole process along a lot. But we recognize that there are some that don't have the resources, don't have a truck, don't have the capability to do that. And those are the ones that when we go through the neighborhoods, we will pick up curbside. And I've seen it all over. I've been driving all over Omaha. And so, I have seen big trees on curbside. I have seen little piles on curbside. So it just depends. But we understand with the magnitude of this storm that it is necessary for us to do the entire city and do a curbside pickup. And again, I have to emphasize that it's a free pickup, then, of the services that we will provide. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all for coming today. Really appreciate it. Thank all of you, too, very, very much. I know everybody standing up here has work to do, so thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we will keep you updated. Like I said, on the city's homepage, on my webpage, on my Facebook. Carrie's running a streaming of information across. She'll update it multiple times a day. You could look at that and get updates. All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, everybody.